first arrives, she totally just like annihilates him in terms of, you know, like destroying his brain. Yeah, like she literally becomes the fantasy incarnate, where,
and it's incredible,
you know, like
yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say like they have like, I think it's like one of the police needle drops plays during this part, and there's like the wind is blowing in, the curtains, the glowing moonlight, the purple dress, and then he lifts up her dress to like reveal her completely naked body. And we get like, you know, these incredibly stylish close-ups on like her breasts and like her bush, and the doors literally blow open, and the leaves are coming in, and he's like, this is his like losing his virginity sequence. It could not be more of an 80s music video.
Yeah, and then they start doing these like fade-ins where the camera slowly tracks from the side where they're having sex on the stairs, and then having sex what seems to be in his dad's like lazy boy chair in his film room or something like that,
next to photos of him as a baby.
Right, exactly. Like he's becoming a man. He's discovering sex and discovering adulthood, and in the most like magical way possible. Like when we say these doors blow up and the wind is just going, like all of her dress starts going up and flowing, and they're barely even at first like having sex. They're just kind of like rubbing up on each other incredibly intensely. It's a really great sequence, honestly. And then I like how it's completely shattered right after, where he kind of wakes up, you know, she's still there. And then the illusion is kind of destroyed because she's like, well, where's my $300 that you owe me? Because that's what this was. Still a transaction. You may have had this kind of this moment where you've discovered something within yourself, but this to me is still a job.
She gave him the girlfriend experience, but it came at, you know, there was a price to it. She starts like immediately sizing up his house, being like, do you know how much this place is like worth? And I love the detail that he has to pay. He doesn't have the cash on him, so he has to pay her with a bond at the bank. Like that is,
which
like,
they have a whole sequence for too. It's just, and it's kind of, I think it just shows like these funny little things he's got to do now in order to make whatever he did right. They're usually very kind of just small in scale, but it just keeps adding up as his day goes by until he's kind of in this fluster of a situation. Yeah, well, and also he's like literally trading in future bonds for this fantasy, and it totally, so the music video stuff starts to really click in that this is all an industry, that these, you know, these people are selling you a thing that you have seen in movies and in music videos and on TV, but you need to pay for it, that there's a business around it. And that's what he becomes simultaneously awoken to, that he loses his virginity, and, you know, he becomes kind of this more confident adult man over the course of the film. But that comes hand in hand with being more aware of the fact that everything he's ever previously wanted has been sold to him as a thing that he wants, and or just given to him by his folks. Like when she asks, you know, how do you have this house kind of thing, it's his first moment of, and I'm sure she knew in a sense, but it's his first moment of telling her, like, I don't actually own any of this. Like, you walked into this house and I got to have kind of the fantasy of owning these things and having somebody like you, but in reality I'm just a kid and this is my parents' place. Yeah, and then it starts throwing in kind of, you know, some of the more sort of more realistic and kind of darker elements of this, because again we've had some of those elements crop up in kind of like the college anxiety and sort of some of the sexual emasculation anxiety with some of his friends, and sort of like the social and parental economic pressure to, you know, be a successful adult, and how that's, you know, like ruining these like big romantic fantasies that he has and everything like that. But it starts to get a little bit more complicated when this industry element kind of crops up, and Lana, who played by Rebecca De Mornay again, she's very aware of her role in the fantasy that she played. She totally played him to a T. Yeah. But she's also, you know, someone who comes from a poorer background who has figured out how to hustle, and she sees him as like kind of this naive boy who she could totally
take advantage of and totally con. So then it becomes kind of like this con artist romance thing, which throws in some elements like, for example, she steals like his mom's like decorative egg when she leaves, when he goes out to go and get the bond. He goes like looking for her and finds her being sort of chased down by her old pimp, you kind of assume, by the way, played by Joey Pantoliano.
So good.
Joey Pants.
Yes.
Classic.
Awesome. He's so good at it. He's got like the open shirt, like with the big collar.
Dude, he's doing
everything.
Tony Montana chain and voice and everything. It's incredible. He's
awesome.
literally playing a dude named Guido.
yes. And I love that in this moment too, Joel at first tries to act like really tough. Like he's like, I'm going to get my mom's egg back. I'm going to properly pay her, but I'm going to make her apologize, all that kind of stuff. And so he's in the fancy restaurant with his suit and he's trying to wave at her and all of that. And she kind of just blows him off at first. And even as he's trying to act tough and like a man, so to speak, she walks up to him when she realizes she's in trouble with Guido and recognizes him as a safe person and kind of uses him again to escape Guido, and which is understandable because I mean the guy's brandishing a gun and being like, I'm gonna kill you and all of that. So he's you understand where she's coming from. But I love that he's trying to put on this mask of being an adult and she still recognizes him as the kid and as a very safe kid.
Yeah. And then, but then obviously like, and I too, like, it's worth mentioning, Tom does look very young in this.
Yes.
I think he was actually like 20 or 21. So he wasn't, he was playing a little bit younger than he was, but I read that they put him through this like incredible bit of physical training essentially, where he basically got as cut as possible for like weeks.
Okay.